Hello, Jared Julius here. I'm going to be walking you through a quick workshop intended to introduce users to MicroStrategy security. Specifically, the configuration and effect of the three dimensions of security that you can impose at the MicroStrategy layer, namely row-level security, meaning security filters, object-level security, meaning access control lists, and function-level security, meaning privileges. This is all in addition to any security that might be imposed at the database level. These instructions will be revised over time, but are intended to be either the basis for a demo by a sales engineer or can be handed over to a user for them to do the exercises themselves. This is all because it leverages a user installed with the standard MicroStrategy tutorial. So again, anyone with access to the tutorial project should also have access to or the ability to do the exercises in this workshop. So understanding that this is the set of instructions from which I'll be doing the exercises, let's go ahead and start. So we'll start by logging into web with the PROS user. No password. This is installed with MicroStrategy tutorial. We'll go to the tutorial project. And the first thing we'll notice is that compared to an administrative user, PROS has a limited set of functionality available to them. We will adjust that later, but we just want people to orient themselves so they understand what PROS will be able to see without any further intervention by an administrator. We'll go ahead and go into shared reports, subject areas, customer analysis, and then the second one, customer income analysis by geography, and run this report. And we'll see that in this case, the user has access to data from all regions. If we move this to page by, it's a little bit easier to see it. We can see that Central, Mid-Atlantic, and so on and so forth. This user at the moment has access to data from all regions. Also, this user has access to 3 different objects in the metric category: revenue, transactions per customer, and average revenue per customer. We'll adjust all these things later, but that's the standard experience by Peter Rose. So having established that, we'll go ahead and log out. Then we'll go over to MicroStrategy Developer, and we will log in using an administrative user like the standard MSTR user available in cloud environments for sales engineers. Then we'll go to Administration, User Manager, and Everyone, and we'll find the PROS user and edit that user. In this case, we're going to go to the Security Filter section, make sure that we have selected MicroStrategy Tutorial, hit View, and we'll see that at the moment this user has no security filters applied to them. Of course, there are many standard ones that we could leverage, but in this case we're going to create a new one. So we'll go ahead and hit New. And in this case we'll go ahead and restrict the regions that Peter Rose is able to see. So we'll select Central in this case and just drag it over. So region and list Central. We'll hit Save and Close. Give it a meaningful name like Practice Security Filter Region in List Central. You can give it something smaller than that. Wanted it to be descriptive. And then we will add that user to Peter Rose. We hit OK. Hit OK again to exit the user editor. And now we can return to web and log in once again as PROS. Go to the tutorial project, shared reports, subject areas, customer analysis, customer income analysis by geography. So we'll once again run this report, and once we move region to the page by axis, we'll see now Peter Rose only sees data for region equals Central. Other than that, everything else remains the same. They still see 3 metrics. If they return to the home screen, they see this functionality. So that's the effect of security filters. We'll go ahead and log out as Peter Rose. And again, we will return to this screen. Let's go back to MicroStrategy Developer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set object level security. We did row level security by putting a security filter on Peter Rose. Now we can go ahead and restrict Peter's access to a particular object. So in this case, we need to go to that object. We don't set it at the user level, we set it at the object level. So in the MicroStrategy tutorial project, we'll go to public objects, we'll go to metrics, we'll go to customer analysis metrics, and in this case, we'll adjust the top metric, average revenue per customer. So we'll right-click it, and hit Properties, go to Security tab, and the first thing we need to do here is go ahead and hit Add. We'll start by selecting everyone, show the users, and we can go down to Peter Rose. And for right now, we can't deny them from here, so let's go ahead and just hit OK. Now Peter Rose is here. Here we can actually say denied all. This means that Peter Rose will no longer be able to see average revenue per customer, which we will validate in just a moment. So we'll hit OK. And we're done setting the ACL for that object. We can go return to web and once again log in as Peter Rose. Go to the tutorial project, shared reports, subject areas, customer analysis, customer income analysis by geography. And now we see, in addition to having only a single region of data, Peter now only sees two metrics, as confirmed right there, revenue and transactions per customer. The average revenue per customer is no longer shown. It's no longer available to Peter Rose. If we wish, we can actually confirm that by coming over to the home screen, hitting creating a new report, and we'll go down to the report builder. And if we look at the metrics, so attributes are up here, metrics are here, we can just go ahead and skip the attributes part for right now. If we're scrolling through the objects available, once again, public objects, then metrics, then customer analysis metrics, we're going to see that the average revenue per customer metric doesn't even appear on this list. That's what we would expect. Everything, including viewing the object, has been denied to this user, so that is the effect of having established an access control list condition for Peter Rose. So we can return to the home screen, log out as Peter, and then we will explore the final aspect of security in this workshop, which will be privilege level security. So we'll return to the tab that has MicroStrategy Developer on it. We can close the project. We don't need to adjust anything in the project itself anymore. Now we're going to come back to Peter Rose under Administration and User Manager, everyone. And we can get to this a couple different ways, but the easiest way to do it is just to right-click the user, and instead of hitting Edit, we'll go right to Grant Access to Projects. We could also access this through the Edit screen directly. And now that we have the Grant Access to Projects screen open, we can adjust the functionality that is available to Peter Rose. Now, in this case, this will be slightly different depending on which version that you are on. The particular functionality that we want to adjust is we want to allow P Rose to be able to import data from files. Prior to MicroStrategy 11.0, there was a separate section called Web Analyst. And in that section, the name of the privilege was access data files from local, URL, Dropbox, Google Drive, sample files, clipboard. 11.0 and later, this is slightly adjusted, and that same setting is now under the Analytics section. So if we expand Analytics and scroll down, we're going to see that the particular privilege that we want to turn on is right here. In fact, I will expand this a little bit so that we can see that it's again access data files from local, URL, Dropbox, Google Drive, sample files, etc. Now, when we do this, MicroStrategy is intelligent enough that if there are additional pieces of functionality that need to be adjusted, then we can do that. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. So you can see that when I hit access data files, two other privileges are also added. Use Analytics and Web Publish Intelligent Queue. Now the reverse is not true. If I remove this, those other two privileges remain, so just be aware of that. It might be something you can call to their attention. But in this case, that's all we need to do, is allow P-rows to be able to access files from these particular sources. They cannot access Facebook, Salesforce, anything like that. They cannot access big data or OLAP tools or BI tools. That's okay. So we'll just hit OK. And now we're done adjusting the privileges available to P-rows. We can come back to Web and log in as P-rows. Go to the tutorial project. And now we can see that based on our adjustment to the user's privileges, they have an additional bit of functionality available to them. And if we click on it, we'll see that the only options made available to P-rows are the ability to add flat files, essentially. Either files from disk or data from URL or the clipboard, all the things that were articulated in that particular privilege. So at this point, we're done. The take-home message for anyone going through this workshop or seeing a demo based on this workshop is that MicroStrategy's approach to security allows for centralized administration without sacrificing the flexibility of deployment. And intersecting row-level, object-level, and function-level security gives you a huge array of opportunities to finely tune both the data that users see and the features that are presented to those particular users so that you can ensure that those users see only what they need to see only what they are capable of leveraging, and making sure that everyone sees the intelligence that they need where they need it. So thank you for participating in this workshop. I hope you find it useful.